Hello everyone and welcome once again to Brandao Collection. Today we have another super exciting autograph pickup that you're not gonna want to miss. So stick around and we'll take a look right after the jump. As I said, today we have a really super exciting autograph pickup that just came in, and I wanted to jump on real quick and share it with the community because it's just that exciting. Now, today, what we're taking a look at is recently Swayu just had one of their auctions. Now, they've been holding these Swayu auctions since the middle or end of 2023, and I've partaked as part of a couple of those auctions over the time. And they just finished with their January 2024 auction, and I did win a couple pieces that I think for some great prices. But one of those pieces is a big one. So that's the one that I wanted to focus on and really share with everybody here. Plus, we'll talk about the other two pieces we got as well, which in my opinion are big pieces, but there's one that just kind of towers above all of them. Now, before we jump into things, as always, if you enjoy our content, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification to be notified when we post new videos and have these exciting new pieces entering our collection. So let's jump on over and take a look at the exciting piece in question. So, the piece that we've kind of been building up to, and the one that we really wanted to make this video about, the one that was the major one that I didn't even think I was going to win when I was bidding as part of the most recent Swayu auction, and that is, drumroll please, this piece right here, signed by James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano himself from The Sopranos. This one is amazing because, unfortunately, he passed away about 10 years ago. Back in 2013, James Gandolfini unfortunately passed away. So having pieces signed by him from especially the early days of the show is absolutely incredible. This is before the time when conventions became a big thing. This is before the time when these actors were so readily available. Of course, things were getting signed at premieres and on the street and at shows and all these different types of things that these in-person autograph people were going out and getting, and that's probably where this one came from. But it's incredible to have a piece signed by him, and not just signed by him, but from the show of him as Tony Soprano. Now, I personally am someone who just recently finished the whole series of Sopranos, that finally I took some time last year to watch the entire show from beginning to end, and I absolutely have to agree with everybody else in the world on why it's considered one of the best TV shows of all time. And I personally have a connection to the show as well because a large majority of the show was filmed in the neighborhoods where I grew up as a kid. So the show was actually filming while I was a kid. There was a time when the pork store, Satrial's, in the show, which is a major location, was actually across the street from my grammar school. So when they were filming the show during the summer, when there was summer classes, or when we had our summer camp there, we would actually go over and watch them film across the street. And at the time, I didn't really have a full knowledge on what the show was about and what was going on, since it was a much more adult show compared to me being a kid. But I have those memories connected to the show. The Bada Bing is only 15 minutes away from where I grew up. And a lot of other locations that are major to the plot points of the show are all within maybe a 20 to 30 minute distance from my home that I grew up in as a kid. So I have this personal connection to the show. And now that I've actually watched it and seen everything and connected to it, I have such a personal connection to the show, along with a great appreciation of all the actors, especially James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano, one of, I think, the best characters ever on television in general. And I'm so happy I'm able to add his autograph to the collection there as a representation of another show that I love, another property. And we've talked about that a lot here on this channel about collecting what you love and having that personal connection and story behind the pieces that you collect. You're not just collecting just to collect, but you're collecting because of that personal connection to something that you love, or even deeper to that, as I was mentioning earlier. So those are the reasons why I was so excited to share this piece with everyone and really take some time to take a look at it and go from there. So that's the main piece. As I mentioned, there were actually two other autograph pieces that I was able to win as part of the most recent Swayu auction. I'm going to talk about those next two pieces here. And those next two pieces actually come from two of my favorite all-time movie directors. And I honestly, in my personal opinion, and probably in other people's opinion, depending on how you feel about it, I think these autographs are actually undervalued. I think that people are not going for them as much as I think they probably should, which in my case actually kind of helps me right now in the sense of collecting directors that I love and having their autograph and be able to get them at a reasonable price that I think is reasonable, and or at least what I think is under the value of what they probably should be at. And the first one I'm actually going to talk about is this Jim Cameron. So James Cameron autograph. From there, this one, I think this looks like it's probably around the time of Titanic based on how he looks in the photo. It's a little bit smudged, the autograph there, probably because this was something that was done in person. There's a little bit of wear and tear on the photo itself in person, but overall, I think it looks great, and I'm really happy to have this because I've mentioned here before, Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. One of the first movies that really got my brain going on how movies were made and all the kind of inner workings of that. Of course, you have Titanic. I'm one of those people that actually love the Avatar movies. I know those movies are hit or miss. Of course, they make billions of dollars across the world, but even on that, they do kind of have hit or miss audiences, but I love both of those movies and the world around them. And of course, Aliens is my favorite of the Alien movies. So I'm really happy to have this piece now in the collection. And then going off of James Cameron, we then have one of my current kind of modern day, even though, of course, James Cameron's still working, but the more modern 2000s to now big directors of our time. And somebody actually, as of this recording, just got a Oscar nomination for 2024, for 2023 into 2024, and that is for the movie Oppenheimer, and that is Christopher Nolan. Now, this sign shot actually comes from behind the scenes of Oppenheimer, which I was really happy with because Oppenheimer was my personal favorite movie of all of 2023. I think it's a complete masterpiece. I've watched it more than once, and I still thought it was as fantastic as I did when I walked out of the theater the first time I saw it last summer. So I think right now that it's the best movie that Christopher Nolan has ever done. And that's saying a lot considering if you look at his entire filmography and all the movies he's done up to this point, there's a lot of other movies that I absolutely love of his leading up to now. Of course, you have The Prestige, which is one of my favorite movies of his, up at the top, may be my personal favorite other than Oppenheimer. And then you have, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight, the one in the middle, of course, being my personal favorite, a movie that I've watched maybe over 100 times. Back when that movie came out, I watched it maybe every day for almost a couple months when it came out on DVD. So it could be over 100 times I've seen The Dark Knight. So I have a real love and appreciation for Christopher Nolan, for his craft, and for him just being a filmmaker and being such an inspiration to filmmakers across the world. So I'm happy to have all three of these pieces now entering my collection, especially that James Gandolfini piece. That one is something that completely blows me away, especially when I opened it up, when it came in. It was something I couldn't believe I finally have in my collection, or something that I have the ability to kind of have and pass on to future generations, and safe keep this piece for anyone else who's a fan of The Sopranos. Especially, The Sopranos turned 25 years old this year, just recently, about a week or two ago as of this recording, so it's great to have that in there. So, like I said, I was just very excited to share with everybody these new pieces we've added to the collection, and we wanted to jump in and go over those details. I just want to thank you again so much for joining us. If you enjoyed our video, please remember to like it, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification, and share this video and our content with anybody else who you feel may be interested in joining us and joining our community here at Brandao Collection. And as always, keep on collecting.